Go. My name is Jacob Thielke, and today I will be talking to you about automotive aerodynamics. Now, there are three main goals in aerodynamics. One is to reduce drag, the second is to minimize wind noise, and the third is to prevent undesired lift forces, commonly known as downforce. Now, there are four types of cars that are important in terms of aerodynamics. One being road cars, the second being sports cars, the third being hypercars, and the fourth being Formula One cars. Now for the road car, I chose a Prius, which is the ugliest car in the world. Now this is actually one of the most aerodynamic cars in the world as well. It has a drag coefficient of 0.26, which is one of the lowest out of all of the road cars made. And it has a slanted nose, a lower roof line. It's also lower to the ground than previous models in order to give less room for air to flow under the car. And the new headlights are sculpted so that when air hits it, it goes around the mirrors and around the body to produce less drag. Now for the sports car, I chose the Nissan GTR. Now as you can see, the GTR is extremely low to the ground, meaning less air can flow under it. Less air flowing under it is very good because if too much air flows under it, then the front or the back could lift up. But since this car has a rear wing and a front lip, that won't happen unless you're going way too fast. Now, there's also air ducts behind the wheel well, so when air gets sucked up under the wheel well, it has a place to exit as opposed to just rolling around in the wheel well and slowing the wheel down. Now onto the hypercar. This is a Bugatti Veyron, and it once held the land speed record for a production car at 265 miles an hour. Now, this car, I can tell, is going extremely fast because it has a top speed mode, where the wing is actually automatic. So its speed determines its height, and its height determines the downforce. Now, there are also multiple air intakes throughout the entire car. As you can see, the one right behind the door, and there's three right on the face of the car. Now these help to suck air into the engine so that no air is wasted. Also, every single body panel is sculpted so that there are no jagged edges. Now, onto the Formula One car. As you can tell, the wing is extremely massive. The front lip has different sections to it. There is also an air intake right above the driver's head, so when air flows through the center of the car, it goes over the driver's head and it's not wasted. It's also extremely low because the roads that Formula One cars drive on are all level and there's no bumps on it. There's also very skinny special mirrors that they use to have air go around it. And there is also a special thing called the rear diffuser. Now what this does is when the little bit of air that does flow under the car, it is able to filter it out so that there's no chance of the car getting up. Now for Formula One cars, downforce is extremely important. At 80 miles an hour, it has a downforce to weight ratio of 1:1. At 120 miles an hour, it has a downforce to weight ratio of 2:1. And at 200 miles an hour, which these cars reach all the time, it has 8,500 pounds of downforce throughout the entire car, which is far more than what these cars actually weigh. Now F1 cars need this in order to go around corners extremely fast. A corner that you and I would drive around at 40 miles an hour, they would go 140 miles an hour. Now, downforce is actually a scary concept because you can't tell it's there. So if you're ever driving and you hit a vacuum in the earth, there's going to be no wind or air resistance, which means no downforce, and if you're going around a corner, you're not going to have a bad time, and